Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Pedestal White Society. My name is Braille. I'm going to wait a little moment to wait to see for people to come in from Instagram and YouTube. I need to know if you can see me and hear me before we get started. And then I realized later on that no one could see me and no one could hear me. So I'm going to give it a moment. I need an inner circle member or a pedestal wife to come over to YouTube to let me know that you can see and hear me so we can move forward and have the conversation today. I'm ready to learn. Yes, absolutely. Welcome. Hey, Sue. No, I'm talking about Shoe. Shoe aside. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. So I just need someone to let me know if you can see and hear me on YouTube. And then we're going to go ahead and get started the conversation. Because me being on social media, I'm coming across a lot of different content. I come across a lot of different content daily. My team, we go over some of the content that we see, and something is starting to happen that I'm seeing over and over and over, and I want to have a conversation about it. So we're going to talk about it today. And this is a conversation for women. I work with women only. So if you are a guy, you might want to exit the conversation because we're going to get into it as women. We're going to have a little girl talk. We're going to have a little chat because now it's time to, things need to change. And so we're going to talk about the things that need to change and how that change needs to come about. So I'm still kind of a little waiting. I'm waiting a little bit on a pedestal wife or inner circle member to get over to YouTube just to let me know if you can see and hear me so that I don't get started and you can't see and hear me on YouTube. I'm quite sure on Instagram that you can see and hear me because I see a lot of comments. So I know that that's working fine. So I want to talk about act like a lady, think like a woman. I know that when you hear that phrase, you probably think about when Steve Harvey put out his information, act like a lady and think like a man. I've always came against that type of content. I did not like his book. I'm just going to be honest with you. I didn't like it because I felt like it was encouraging women to leave their legacy behind. Women have a legacy that is full of women being smart and playing the game as a woman. And I feel like that his book encouraged women to leave that legacy behind to compete, in this game as a man. When you compete as a man, you lose. Instead, you can win as a woman. So that's what we're going to talk about here today. We're going to talk about act like a lady and think like a woman and what that looks like. So I'm still kind of waiting. I don't want to get into it. And then YouTube can't see me. So I need a pedestal wife from my community to go over to YouTube. And all I need you to do is check it out. All you have to do is click the link in my story and it will take you right over to YouTube. Thank you, Joy. I'm going to assume with your comment that you can see and hear me on YouTube. So now we can jump into the conversation. Why would you want to be a man when you can be a woman? I will never understand this need, this push that I'm seeing that women are encouraging other women to pursue men, to talk and act like men, to dress like men, to sleep around like men. It's like we're trying to take on all of the undesirable qualities that men have. We don't even want to date that type of man. So why would we want to become that man? I never will understand it, especially when we come from a background, a legacy. We literally come from a legacy of women that figured out how to get power through men. They were able to gain rights in this country. They got the ability to have their own accounts. They got the ability to buy their own houses, cars, and do their own thing. But then we want to shed that legacy of that and take on the persona of the undesirable men that we don't even want. So we don't want that type of man, but we want to become that type of man. And I really want us to really think about this because what I feel that is happening is that we say that we're above, trying to get the attention of men. We're above trying to get next to men. We're above trying to pursue men. We're above trying to get validation from men. But when a man says it, y'all have a homecoming in the comment section. He has to say it first, and then you feel like it's truth. So I say that we're still not living up to the legacy that the women before us left us. They knew how to act like a lady and think like a woman. See, woman has access to the front and left lobe of their brains. So basically our brains transmute and talk to each other, while a male's brain is mostly utilized on the left side. God gave us these benefits and these attributes so that we can take on the greatest responsibility that you're going to take is family. So he made sure that we were smart. He made sure that we had attributes so that we can move in this world in a smart way, not with just our mind. We also can utilize our heart. So think around the way of being logical, but also intuitive. That woman is going to be very dangerous in this society, in this world. Because if she's only moving with half of herself, or she's trying to be the undesirable man that she doesn't want, or she's trying to take on the persona of what men are, or the men that she's come in contact with, you're not going to be as successful as a woman who actually wants to be a woman who's operating as a woman, because she's going to be able to operate from her logic and also her heart. So when she makes a decision or a choice, she also can pair it with being intuitive. So she is able to make sure that she's making the right decision at the right time. So I don't understand why we have coaches coming out the woodwork encouraging women to talk like men. So that's the reason why I get really, really hyped when I see women, and I don't like it when I see other women referring to me as bruh. I'm not your bruh. Don't talk to me like I'm a man. Don't talk to me like I'm the masculine energy that you come in contact with. Don't talk to me in that manner, because I don't see any benefits of acting like a man. I don't see any benefits of moving like a man. I don't see any benefits of becoming the undesirable men that we wouldn't even date. I see no benefits in that. I feel like that we have so much flavor and we gain so much energy and power from being woman versus being man. Some of us, it's very obvious that the elders that are supposed to teach young girls are not in position. They're not playing their role. And since they're not playing their role, they don't understand that you will never gain power by sleeping around with a man. Men take from you. He takes from your life force energy when he sleeps with you. So he takes that energy. And this is the reason why you feel a little bit lethargic and you feel depleted after sex, because when he takes from you and he goes out into the world, he goes and he's a lot more confident. He goes out there and he can build his dreams. He goes out there and he has more energy. Men after sex, they are not as lethargic. They're really getting re-energized by our energy. So having sex with men is not a win. You getting the ability to sleep around like a man does not make you more powerful. Actually, it weakens you, because you get more power from the intangibles, by the internal attributes, by the internal value that you have as a woman. You get more power by sticking to your values, by having self-respect, by investing in yourself. You get more power by focusing on self and absolutely being selective about who you sleep with, who you marry, who you give children to. You become more power within that dynamic versus the other. Men become more powerful sleeping around. Women do not. And I've had this conversation. It's nothing new. This is old conversation. This is old news. This is old information. But I know that if I was to put a man up here, and I guess I'll do that. I do that for the community. I make sure that the women who need that is good. They're going to get that from me, because I'm going to drop the video where the guy says it, because some women will not believe that if it's coming from a woman. And just be honest with yourself if that is you. If I'm speaking to you, the only way you're going to listen, if it's coming from a man, just go ahead and say you believe that women are weak. You don't have any self-respect. You don't believe that women are strong or have any strength about themselves. So you have to get it from a man. You have to get information from a man, even though when it comes down to information and really understanding the game and strategy that you need to win, you're supposed to get it from your elders, and that's supposed to be a woman. You're supposed to get it from a woman. A woman is supposed to pass down this information. I'm just doing a job and stepping in. I'm not even an elder yet, but I'm stepping in, because I keep seeing, and the more that I'm bombarded by content that is encouraging women to be men, when women outsmarted men a long time ago. So why in the world would I want to be a man when it shows from our history that women outsmarted them in so many different ways? Do y'all really believe that men would have gave rights if it wasn't from a smart woman who absolutely figured out how to utilize her thinking, her logic, and her heart, her intuition? Women did that. They figured out what type of man that was going to be on there. They're going to be able to pull to their side to be able to get these laws in place. They didn't do it alone. I know we like to think that women did alone, but they did not. They did not. They just figured out which men were going to be open to listening, which men that they were going to be able to tap into so that he will be on their side and he will go and help create these laws and help establish voting for women. Women knew their power back then, and they weren't trying to be men. Of course, later on down the line, we started changing somewhere down the line, because now we got so many coaches just coming into the space. And the only thing they're teaching women is to sleep around, to pursue men, to act like a man, to dress like a man. Like, we legit have coaches that have a big following. They're teaching women to present as a man in order to get the things that they want in life. What they're not telling you when they teach you like that, they're not teaching you to win. Because any coach that teaches you that your womanhood is not valuable, that you're not powerful by just being woman, they don't care about you. And I know that's a strong statement. I'm gonna stand on it. I'm gonna stand up because I understand the power of a woman. I understand that women do not receive their power in the way that men do. I understand that men have to go out here and build, take, grab, get anything they can to create power for themselves, because they come out the womb powerless. Women are born inherently with power. It's only when we tap into our acceptance of self, our own set of values, our own moral code, our being, which feminine energy is being, when we step into that, then we step into our power. And that's the reason why some men are like, oh my gosh, they didn't have to do anything. But now, instead of you recognizing they're somewhat envious of you not having to do anything, you would rather be like them. You want to go ahead and get it out the mud. You want to go in and work 40 to 60 hours to get what they have, when they're only getting half of what you can possibly have if you actually step into your own womanhood. All you have to do is act like a lady and think like a woman. Act like a lady that has a heart and intuition. Think like a woman and make good choices and decisions. That's the reason why God blessed us with both. He didn't bless us to operate on half mast like men. Men are at a disadvantage. Women outsmarted them a long time ago. That is the reason why I would never desire to be a man. I would never desire to be a man, a life of burden, a life of work, a life of grabbing for power, a life of taking from others to receive for themselves. I don't want to be a man. I love being a woman. And don't take it that I don't like men. I love men. I have a husband. I love a man. But I understand that we outsmarted them a long time ago. This is how we got where we are now, because we utilize our womanhood to get these things for ourselves. Why would we ever want to go backwards? Why would we ever want to become the undesirable men that we don't even want to date? Hey, Daisy. So act like a lady, think like a woman. You do not have to be a man in order to win in this life. All you have to do is activate your own womanhood and find the power within it. Stop thinking you're powerless. Stop thinking that if you don't be a man, you're not going to be able to receive or have wealth or abundance, when feminine energy is literally abundance and wealth. That is the way to wealth. Feminine energy is the way to abundance. So the more that I come across these coaches that y'all are blowing up their spot, you're listening to them, and you're going out here and you're changing everything that makes you woman into a man. And men live a life of burden. They live a life of trying to gather power for themselves. When a woman comes in inherently powerful, we come in with having everything that God has given us to be not only smart, but intuitive. But you would rather be on the other side of this. You would rather be the man, just because you feel like that you're going to be judged and be sleeping around. It's not even about being judged about being sleeping around. That's not even the case. I don't even want you to even think of that when it comes to sleeping around. I want you to think of him taking power from you. When you sleep around with strange men, it's just giving your power to a man who's not willing to work for you. He's not willing to go out here and hustle and grind and live a life of burden so that your children can live well. But he's going to be able to live well because he's going to take that energy from you and go and give it to another woman who understands the power of being a woman. Because they are screaming for women to be women. They understand the difference between it. They understand if they start having women deciding that they want to be men and taking everything that is woman and removing it from the category, removing it from the relationship, they already know what it's going to be. It's going to be two people competing, two people grabbing for power, two people trying to figure out how they can get, how they can take from others, and it's going to be disastrous. It's going to be problematic. They understand that. They don't want you to be a good man. They want you to be a good woman. And all you have to do in this world is really act like a lady and think like a woman, and you will be able to progress and have everything faster, sooner, and in a way that's desirable. But when you go out here trying to be a man, good luck with your burden, because you're taking on a burden that men don't even want. Men of today are somewhat jealous of the burden that you do not carry. So if you want to take that on, I don't think they'll be mad at it. If you want to go out here and have a life of burden, have a life of being powerless unless you figure out how to grab power from others. If you want to go out here and compete and get it out the mud, they're not going to stop you. But women like myself who understand that it's great to act like a lady and have a heart, but also think like a woman and have logic. Your heart and your mind is your superpower. Being able to use them and paired with each other will make sure that you have a life that you desire. But when you decide to forsake all of that and you want to be a man, like I said, and you want to take on the burden of being man, you're going to experience a whole different world. Do you all know that's the reason why men are super lonely? Not only lonely, they have a high suicide rate. They also, they're not out here sleeping around in the manner you think they are. They're getting what they can get. But you want to be a man. Good luck with your burden. Because being a man should not be the desired state for a woman who has a responsibility. You have a responsibility, especially if you decide you're going to have children and you want to bring them to this world. If you want to have children, you have a responsibility to absolutely operate from the head and the heart, so that you can have desire. You can have the desires of your heart and you can win in the end. You're just going to make your game, you're going to make your game a whole lot harder if you decide you want to be a man. Stop listening to these women who tell you to pursue men. Men pursue you. You're a woman. You do not have to go out here and go chase him down and give him your number. You do not have to contact him on the internet or send him emails or text him all the time. You don't have to do all those things as a woman. You just have to accept and take on your womanhood and accept it for what it is. You are not weak. You are not weak. Women are not weak. We're weak physically. And that is by design. Men are stronger physically, but we are smarter. We have access to all of our brain. We're operating on all cylinders. Stop trying to drop the legacy of being a woman. With being a woman, a lot of the tactics that you all admire, women created. That's the funny part about the situation. So you want to be the man, but you don't understand that a lot of the tactics that they're utilizing on us is the ones that we created. Because at one time, women did not have any power. They had to get power through men. How did you think they got power through men? Through beauty, through seduction, through manipulation. So all the tactics that you think men created, women started. They just took it on because they realized that they're tired of the burden of life that they live. So why not take on some of the characteristics or qualities that women or tactics that we've created? Act like a lady, think like a woman. You do not have to think like a man in order to win in this world. You absolutely be better served by thinking like a woman, by utilizing your heart and your soul and your brain. Excuse me, your heart and your mind. Utilizing your heart and your mind, being able to think logically, make good decisions, make it decide, and also having intuition, having insight, being close enough to the spiritual realm where you get that insight very quickly and easily. That together gives you one up on man. Men want to utilize you for those qualities and traits that you have anyway. But what we're doing, we laying down and dying just because we want a man. And I'm all for family. I am. I'm all for family. I have my own family. I've been married for 23 years. But I was raised with what woman is and what it takes to be a woman and what will help you show up in this world as woman. I was raised as to be a woman of power. I was raised that being a woman is power. I wasn't raised that women were weak. We may be weak physically, but that's where the weakness in, baby. That's where the weakness in. But I'm starting to realize a lot of young women do not recognize the power in womanhood. And since you don't recognize the power of womanhood, you rather take on the qualities and traits of a man. Where men are getting some of the techniques and tactics that you admire from women. Women created those techniques and tactics because we didn't have any power. We had to figure out how to take power. We were born with power because we are a man's weakness. A woman is a man's weakness. Since we were born with power, we were born with that. That's something you don't have to go out here and try to figure out. It's something you don't have to go take. You don't have to go trick somebody out of that. When you realize that a woman is a man's weakness, women understood this and they took that legacy upon them. That's how they got the rights that you desire and have of today. That's how they were able to get men on their side and start to see women as different and start to see women and the qualities and traits of women. That's how they did it. They did not do it by trying to come at them in a competitive fashion or argumentative fashion. They didn't try to shed their womanhood in order to meet them head on as a man. They were just women, and they stood up in that. Women literally marched the streets in dresses. They didn't say, let me go put on some pants because that's the only way I'm being respected by a man. No, they put on dresses. They put on a full armor in order to pull men to their sides. And men saw that, and they saw the passion that came with it. And they pulled men to their side and pulled men to their fight. They didn't try to attempt to do it by themselves like women of the day. Women admire men so much, you think men have it all together, that you dismiss the strength of being a woman and the power of being a woman. You dismiss it so easily that to the level some women really need a man to validate them in order to feel powerful within their own womanhood. Now, some of this conversation may go over some of my newbies' heads, but some of y'all who've been here for a while, you already know how I am. You already know how when I get something, I'm going to go full force into it. And it doesn't mean that I hate men. I don't hate men, but I admire men for what they are and who they are. I don't try to become them because I feel less than about who I am, or I feel like that they are more powerful than me, or that they only way I'm going to get ahead is if I act like a man. I know I can get ahead further than any man that carries a burden because I'm a woman. Being a woman is sans burden, which means I don't have to carry the burden of a man. And I will be able to get further than any man just because of being born a woman. And that understanding there helps me keep pride in being a woman. And I would never want to be anything else other than a woman. But a lot of young women have been deceived in this conversation. You think that if you be a man, all your dreams are going to happen. Just prepare for the burden of life. That's all I want you to know. I want you to prepare for the burden of life. I'm going to tell you like my grandma used to tell me. If you want to walk in this world as a man and you want to shed the woman that you are, your womanhood, to become a man, to act like a man, to speak like a man, to dress like a man, to sleep around like a man, be prepared for the burden of life. Be prepared for the consequences that come with a woman pretending to be a man when she isn't one. So don't ever say you didn't get that warning, because I'm telling you, that is the warning. As an older woman, a married woman, I've seen these things and I've seen how they turn out. And it doesn't turn out in the way that you want it to turn out. Women who decide to shed their womanhood because they believe that women are not strong, you believe that women are weak, you believe that women are less than, because that's what it is. When you decide that you want to be a man, that's what you believe. You believe that women are less than. You don't believe that women are strong. You don't believe that women have any strength within them. You're judging them based off their physicality because our physicality is weak. Absolutely. We are definitely weak. Our physicality is weak. But that is why God created man. Men is strong. Men has the hormones and ability to last longer. Men were giving that gift so that they can go out here and do those things. But women were given another gift. We were given the ability to think and to contemplate and to have our heart involved. We were given the ability to be intuitive and be insightful and to connect easily with the spiritual realm. We were given complementary gifts that are desired in each other. But when one gender decides, I am not going to be a woman, I'm going to be a man, then the men lose out on having a woman. They just get another man that they have to compete with, that they have to gather power for, that they have to build with. That's what they get. They get another man. But when a woman is a woman, she gets a man. You will win in life if you decide to be a woman. If you decide to be a woman, you will win in life. All the things you admire in men are the very things that women created. You don't literally have to shed your womanhood to have access to those things. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the chat on YouTube. I'm going to stay for a little bit longer on Instagram, but you already know the routine. I'm going to close this out and I'm going to finish it up on YouTube. The link is in the stories if you want to come on over here. So Daisy V said, oh yes, my ex drained me. I started seeing it in my looks. Absolutely. Literally, if you're having sex with that person, your life force is being drained. And since women, we have a responsibility to make sure that we only give our life force and our energy to a man who's willing to actually go work for the family. If he isn't willing to go work for the family, then you should not be giving your energy to him. I'll be darned if I'm going to sit here and shed my womanhood and sleep around so Tom, Dick, and Harry can go and take my energy and give it to another woman. He can go and take my energy and boost his confidence and go out here and accomplish his dreams, and I don't benefit anything from that. This is what womanhood is. At one point, we understood that womanhood, in order to let a man have access to us in that way, we had to have some form of commitment. We have to be able to receive the things that we want from him before we even get it, because it should be equal. I hate to use the word equal. Exchange. It should be an exchange of value. But no, we decided that we could win by being a man instead, not understanding that a man's life is one of burden. All you're doing when you shed your woman, you're just taking on the one of burden. And it's already obvious that a lot of women are taking on the one of burden. You're taking on the one of burden because you've decided that that men are stronger and that they know better, that they are better than you. And this is the reason why every time I see women comment or say something or start a live stream and see, oh, we should be doing this. Like, you see, that's why men do this. Anytime I hear a woman say that, I already know what's going on. She thinks that women are so weak and that they're so useless that she has to shed her womanhood to be a man. So she's trying to emulate manhood and masculinity, not understanding that it becomes a double burden when you're a woman doing that. Because not only you're taking on something that's not authentically you, you're taking on being more competitive. You're taking on trying to figure out how to grab power. You're taking on the power struggle that men have. You don't understand the consequences of being a man. And it's obvious that a lot of women don't understand the consequences of being a man, because if you understood the life of burden that a man lives, you would never desire to be anything but a woman. You would not even want to come back as a man. Because I've heard women say that silly stuff. Oh, I would rather come back and be a man. What for? Who? Not me. I don't want to come back and be no man. I love being a woman because I understand the power of womanhood. I understand stepping into my womanhood and the power that comes from that. And being immediately born inherently with value and power, who would want anything else other than that? Why would I want to come back as a man and have to fight to get it out of the mud, have to grab and take power, have to figure out what dummy is willing to give me some of her life force so that I can have power that I don't have for myself? If your intuition is saying something very positive about a man or a relationship with him, how do you tell him that? Your intuition? Look, I'm going to always encourage women, don't just go on intuition. I need every woman to operate with their heart and their mind. That's our superpower as women. This is the reason why I've never encouraged women to operate only in the feminine, Because I know that if you operate only in the feminine, you will be crazy. You need to have a good, not even a balance. You need to have access to healthy masculine and healthy feminine. So you don't have to say anything, and I wouldn't say anything. I would observe him and just continue to observe him to see if everything's lining up. I wouldn't say, hey, everything's going, I wouldn't say anything yet. Remember, one of the things we have to understand as women, we let a man take 2 steps, a woman takes 1. And I keep saying that because that's how we operate. We move very slowly in making decisions. And even if our intuition, we take our time with it. We make sure that this is exactly where we're supposed to be going and what we're supposed to be doing. So I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't say anything right now. Continue and sit with that feeling to see if the actions and the things you observe align with that. See if he continues to show up in the way that you feel that he's showing up. We don't have to cut out our heart in order to be a man, because some reason women believe that men are so cold-hearted, and so evil that we have to become them and become the men that we do not even want to date ourselves in order to succeed. And I'm telling you that what's missing from the conversation is not just our hearts, but it's our minds. God gave you a mind, use it. He gave you the ability to operate on all cylinders. You have your right and your left lobes active. Utilize them. And you are a step up, and you will be able to outsmart any man who's trying to take advantage of you. So I'm going to go ahead and close out Instagram. I don't see anything over here. If you want to continue the conversation, you're going to click the link in the stories, and it's going to take you over to YouTube. And I will see you all on the next one. You have a good day. Bye. But you don't have to be a man. You need to be a woman. You need to step into all the goodness that God gave you as a woman. He gave you so many tools, so many qualities, so many traits, so many ways to live that you don't have to step into a one of burden. And I feel that women, if this trend continues, that women are stepping into being a man, women are going to have double burden. Because, and I think you already see that. And when I say double burden, we're already really seeing the double burden. We're seeing women that they work, they come home, they take care of the kids, and they cook, they clean, they work, and they do it all over again. So you're already seeing women operate from double burden. And this is because women have decided they would rather be a man and compete like a man and gain power like a man. Women don't have to gain power like a man because women are already powerful. And since we're already powerful, in order to make sure that we are in it, you have to start with self-acceptance. Like, you can't even accept yourself to the point where you're willing to change genders. Not understand the power that women hold. I've never seen, no matter what disaster, have you ever seen a disaster where they're evacuating men first, or are they evacuating children and women first? Which one are they evacuating? Which one are they evacuating? I want to answer, because I'm over seeing this on social media, and then a lot of women give these women platforms. So then the message gets bigger and it's spreading, and it's getting to be a common thing. Like, I literally have young women that come in, when they talk to me, they be like, "Bro, what's up?" Like, you're even you're shedding womanhood and taking on manhood, and even starting to sound like a man. That's how bad it's getting. That we're starting to see women shed womanhood to be a man, when man's life is one of burden. And any time that there is a evacuation, they're always going to get women and children all first. They never evacuate men first. Why do you think that is? Men understand and want to put women on that pedestal. They're already doing it when they decide to evacuate women and children first. They're not even thinking, they're willing to sacrifice themselves for you. But you want to be the man, and then you want to do the sacrificing? So you want to be the ones that allow the men to get on the boat. And so many women show themselves, oh, men want breaks too. Men want vacation too. Y'all don't understand that God created men with these physical abilities so that they can go out here and work for children and women so they can keep the family stable. So you're advocating for men in a way that men don't even advocate for themselves. They understand what their God-given role is and position. And you're jealous of it? Why? Women outsmarted men histories ago. Do y'all really think that if women were dumb, they wouldn't realize the value in being able to have things for themselves? Women realize the value in having things for themselves, being able to vote, being able to have homes, being able to have bank accounts. Do you think that if men were super smart, do you think they really would sign those papers? I want you to think that through when you think about that, when you think or believe that men are smarter than women. God gave us the brains. He gave us a fully functioning brain. And that was intended for a good reason, so that we could be smart enough to make sure that when we create our families, that we can take care of our children. We can make good decisions for them. So, because we're responsible for the next generation. And since we're responsible for the next generation, that person needs to be smart. That person needs to be operating on all cylinders. That person needs to have heart and mind. But when we cut off something so that we can blend in more and that we can be a man, we're operating we're half functioning. And it doesn't even feel good to be a man and operate as a woman. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. It's not working out. You've already tried sleeping around thinking that was going to be the way to be able to get men to do what you need them to do. When our history showed that we didn't even do that. We didn't have to sleep around with guys in order to get them to sign those laws, to get them to give us the rights that we desired. We didn't have to do any of those things. All we needed to do was absolutely use logic and heart and be passionate about the thing. And men saw the logic and the heart, and they went and signed the paperwork so that we can own things for ourselves. But now women think that women are so dumb that they want to shed womanhood and be a man, when men want to shed manhood and be a woman. They understand what it means to be, what they can receive by being a woman. They understand the power that comes by being a woman. They would prefer that because that relieves them of their life of burden. But women want to have burden when you don't have to. They expect us to be like them. It's very sad. Can't stand when women talk like that. I can't stand it either. Y'all can already tell I'm kind of fired up. I'm tired and over it. I literally came across a video where a woman was like 50 years old and she was advising women to go and pursue men. But you know something? This is the reason why I say we have to operate from our thinking and our heart. So one of the first things I did was I looked up what was statistics if a man pursued a woman versus a woman pursued a man. The men that pursued their women were happier. The women that pursued their men, the men were unhappy. So that told me one thing. Even though some women don't like that you have to be in a feminine principle, you have to allow a man to come get you. You have to allow a man to chase you. You have to allow a man to pursue you. You want to speed it up. You want to get it now. Science tells us that the way that we've been operating works. When you start to mess with something, you start to change something, it doesn't work. Men are unhappy even if they have a relationship with the woman. So yes, if you pursue a man and you pursue him and you exchange numbers, you call him first. You can have a relationship with him. You may even get him to marry you, but the men are unhappy. And an unhappy man is not the type of man that you want in your home. Trust and believe. The man that's unhappy, he will try to figure out how to make you unhappy. So I came across her doing that. Then I came across another woman that was encouraging sex. Like she's literally just encouraging sleeping with the man. And since we have, a vagina, that vagina should be able to get us anything we want. And if you sleep with them, you'll be able to get the things you want out of them. But our history, the women that came before us, taught us that didn't work. They know it doesn't work. moving around and not caring about your sex and having sex with any man, it does not empower you. You're not empowered by having sex with any man. You're not empowered by sleeping around. You're more empowered by being selective. You're more empowered by choosing a worthy man to be your husband and the father of your child. You're more empowered in that way. You're more empowered that way versus the other. And of course, some of this is spiritual. And some of us don't want to have that spiritual conversation. We don't want to have a conversation that some of the spiritual conversations that you were taught as a little girl in church absolutely has some scientific background. That is the reason why you feel lethargic after sex. That is the reason why you feel like something's taken or you feel like something's missing, because he just took from you. And unless he's going to take that from you and go and work for you and go and make sure that you have enough or go and make sure that your family is good, then I don't see a reason for a man to take for you. You're already powerful alone. You're already empowered alone. And this is not coming from a person who hates men or who doesn't believe in marriage. I absolutely adore my husband. Anybody that's been in my space for long enough, you know I call my husband my compliment. So I adore that man. But I understand what womanhood is. I've never thought of womanhood being weak, because I think a lot of women think that womanhood is weak, and that's the reason why they decide to take on the persona and burden of man. And since they believe that women are weak, they want to be just like a man. But some of the things that are of men that you all admire, we created. That is how we got the things that we got. That's how we got men to sign those bills into laws. That's how we got the marriage that we wanted. That's how we got the life and lifestyle that we desired. Because some of the techniques and tactics that you're admiring in him, you created. The women that came before you, they created that. So act like a lady, think like a woman. Don't negate your heart and operate and walk around half cocked or utilizing on half of yourself. God gave you all the things so that you can make great decisions and get the desires of your heart. You just have to learn that womanhood is valuable, that is strength, that is powerful. Women like myself that talk in this manner exist. We're on the internet. We just don't get as much play as the women who talk and help women to become men. But being a woman, I love it. I don't desire any other thing. I don't want to be anything else but a woman. I don't desire the life of burden. I don't want to have double burden in my life. All the undesirable things that men do, we perfected it. Why do you all think that when women cheat, they don't get caught? Why? Because they perfected it. They're using our techniques and tactics against us. Why do you think that when they even use seduction is against us? They're using that on social media now. I've been calling it out for years about how men are using seduction on social media to pull in high quality women. They're using the techniques, the tactics that the women before us created against us. And it's working because women are trying to shed womanhood because you think it's weak. You think there's no strength or power in being a woman. And it's more validating being a man. You think it's a man's world, not understanding that a woman helped create a man's world. We just didn't do it physically with feet on the ground. But they listened to our ideals. They are influenced by us. They watched us and made sure that we were going to be safe in that environment. Why do you all think the world doesn't operate as the Wild Wild West? Because they realized they wanted to figure out how to create a world where it's going to be safe for children and women. We have so much influence. But we want to toss it away by being a man. Most men don't influence other men normally. Most men have their own mind, but a man can be influenced by a woman. That's the reason why it doesn't make sense to decide to shed womanhood to be a man and take on a life of burden, and not even just a life of burden, double burden, because now you're doing it all and you're being it all. You're carrying both of the roles, and you don't have to. But we have to take back and find strength and power in being a woman, allowing ourselves to have a heart and to think, allowing ourselves to dress like a woman, speak like a woman, act like a lady, and think like a woman. So I don't have anything else. I'm gonna leave the chat is open. So if you have something you want to say or you have a question you want to ask, go ahead and drop it. But I needed to say this because I want it on my page. I just want it on my page. I'm not as concerned about what other people do and what other people say because I can't control that. Only thing I can do is talk about what I stand for and what I believe in and what I think and believe that can help other women to get the things they want out of life. And I'm going to tell you personal experience. A woman can get the things that she want out of life by being a woman. When you try to take on the burden of being a man, you take on double burden. You take on one of being a woman physically and showing up as a woman, and then trying to be like a man when it's literally impossible because men and women have different brains and different physicality and different biology and different hormones. So you will never achieve your goal. Your goal is actually useless. Thank you for this. Thank you for this live. You're welcome. Because I'm seeing it all over social media. And this what's scary to me. I think this what scares me a little bit is that these are the women that women make sure that they have big platforms. Like the women who encourage you all to be men, they have humongous platforms. So somebody like me who's saying you can still win being a woman is going to be hard to compare to another content creator who has a bigger platform and she's encouraging you to be a man. She's encouraging you to sleep around, not understand the dynamic and what happens when you sleep around. And there's science to back this up. I'm not even talking out the side of my neck. I'm talking spiritually, but I'm also talking scientifically. I'm talking about how they don't even teach you all that when you decide to have a baby with a man, your DNA is changed. They literally took and pulled up a woman that was like 94 years old. I think she was already dead, deceased and gone. They pulled her up and found that she had male DNA. And he tracked it down to figure out what happened. She had a baby with a man. And the man's DNA changes the woman's. So even not only is he taking away and changing your DNA, he's taking your life force energy. So not only is it scientific, it's also spiritual. Getting more in touch with my feminine. I realize how masculine most women around me are. Sometimes I feel so alone. I love this online community. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you and your support, Daisy. You're always here. And I appreciate that so much because everyone's piling in because I know what it is because it seems as though it's a man's world, but they don't understand behind a man's world is really the women that's running it. It's really a woman's world, but we don't want to have that conversation because we don't realize how much power women have. Women have so much power, but I think other women have deemed women as powerless. And they figure, I see the face of the world. The face of the world is a man. And since men represent the face of power, women want to get next to that power, not understanding their own power. The man that is the face of that power, a woman can influence him and she can guide and direct where that power goes. That's the power of woman. But when you don't understand that, you're going to look at it and you're going to say, oh my gosh, men run the world. They create the laws. They make all these changes. But women have power too. Ours may not be in your face. That's the issue. A woman's power isn't in your face. And that's why women are envious because a man's power is in your face. A man's power is in your face because a man had to literally go out here and grab for power. Women were born with it. It's innately a part of us. We were born powerful. As the gender that's able to bring souls into this world, we were born powerful. We were born with value immediately, and men had to go out into the world and create theirs. So, of course, it looks like they're more powerful. It looks like that women should try to emulate men as much as possible, but men are not the powerhouse that you believe. And they weren't created to be that way anyway. I don't know. Maybe it's the conversation we should be having over here. Maybe I should make this a membership exclusive, because I don't want to feel like I'm talking to myself. But I had to say something. I know my inner circle. You're going to get it. You understand where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from a place of hating men. I'm coming from a place of knowledge of women. And all women need to have that knowledge. Because in this world, you can be conditioned, you can be lied to believe that men are the powerhouse. And men are not. You think your boss is someone all powerful because they pay your check. The woman that's married to your boss, he is just a man to her. He is just a man that she delegated to. He is just a man that she can whisper to and influence. But you all don't want to hear me now. You don't want to hear about the power that women have. And yes, it is quiet. It's not as loud. It's not as in your face. We don't have to go and grab it. We don't have to go and take it. That's why women are so much better leaders, and corporate wants us, because they understand they're not going to have to fight and try to make sure that their companies aren't taken off from under them. Women are coming in from a powerful position anyway. They know that if a man comes in, he has to be watched and make sure that he's not going to come in and try to take the company. A woman comes in, she's going to add power to it because she's already powerful. She's going to come in collaborating. She's going to come in empathizing. She's going to come in working well with others, versus the man that they got to watch. They got to keep one eye on that man because he's always trying to figure out how to get power. And the man that runs the place, he's already trying to figure out how to keep his power. Women are already powerful, so we don't have to do any of that. All we have to do is use our heads and our hearts and delegate to a man that is willing and available and open and valuable and enough. That's all we got to do. And we can hold influence with him. And he can add his power with ours. And in that power, we can protect our families. And we can give our families the best of the best. This was needed. Definitely not talking to yourself. Yes, this live is deep. I know I tend to go there. I try to not go too deep because I don't want to lose nobody. But I need for women to understand, you don't have to be a man. Trust. You do not have to be a man. You do not want to be a man. There was I don't know if I can say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because if I'm gonna go here, I might as well go here, you know. There was a woman that I saw a story recently on the internet where a woman decided she didn't want to be a woman anymore. She decided to go through and go through the change to become a man. And do you know, after 30 days, she wanted to go back to being a woman? And she said because of loneliness. She said because it wasn't what she thought it would be. And see, this is deception that is out here, that men are smarter, they're more manipulative, they're more fierce, they're more capable. And women think this about men. Not understanding that you have all these also. You have it all available to you. You just have to tap into it. And so she didn't understand. And she made one of the biggest mistakes of her life. And she took on the burden. And actually took on a double burden. Because even if you change your body, the mind is still female. The mind cannot be changed. There's no surgery that you can have on the mind. And so she had the female mind, but the body of a man. And it didn't work out for her. And she was miserable. And I'm going to continue to follow her story because I think it's interesting, especially when we got a whole bunch of coaches like, go and do it because a man did it. You should do a man do this. How a man date. This is how a man sleep around. This is how a man is. I don't even listen to a content creator. She ends it with, this is how a man operates. I don't listen no more because I already know what you think. You think that men are better than women. You need validation from men. It's a whole other way of getting validation from men. And women don't see it because they're not understanding it. You think that men are the source of strength. You believe that all of the things, that techniques and tactics that you admire in men, that women don't have access to those things also. I'm gonna tell you right now, apparently you all don't know your history. There's tons of women who had some of the most undesirable tactics and manipulation that men have today. We need to deep this is life-changing information if we apply it. Yes, absolutely. Because nothing works unless you apply it. Like, it doesn't matter if you listen to my live streams and you're good and you're rah, let's be a woman now. And then when you get off the live stream, you go back to your regular life trying to be a man, not understanding the power of woman. And it saddens me that women truly do believe that men are the powerhouse that they aren't. They aren't. They have their own traits and qualities and masculinity and manhood that we admire. But the power does not directly lie in a man's hand. He has to figure out how to get it. He's always on the hunt of trying to figure out how to get that power. Where you're born with it. You innately have that energy, that power, that value. But you willingly give it away to a man who isn't going to give you anything back for it. And that just doesn't sit right with womanhood. No wonder your self-esteem is affected. Your self-esteem is going to be affected every time you put your all into something and you receive nothing back for it. Because even though innately, or maybe you haven't been taught, you know that something's wrong, something's off. Because womanhood is all about allowing yourself to receive and not giving something out without receiving something back. But that is one of what men do. Men will go out here and give. Their setup, their biology, their mindset, everything has been conditioned so that they can do so. And they can do it in a healthy way. Where if you do that, you're going to feel the effects physically. Why do you think there's a rise in heart disease and autoimmune diseases among women? Too many women are trying to be men. And that is not what you were meant to be. God doesn't make mistakes. Act like a lady, think like a woman. The act like the lady part is your heart. You can have a heart because from your heart is your intuition, your care, your feelings, your emotions, your upgrade, your up level. Thinking like a woman is your decisions, your thinking, your logic, making choices for yourself so that you can have the desires of your heart. So instead of trying to act like a lady and think like a man, I need everyone to start thinking like a woman. Think like a woman who operates from a place of power instead of one of weakness. Yes, women can make bad decisions. That doesn't mean that we're powerless. That doesn't mean we're weak. That doesn't mean we need to emulate men either. It just means that a lot of women they missed out on the training that you're supposed to get from an elder. A lot of us don't have elders. There's so many women that I talk to that their mothers never understood it. So if your mother doesn't understand anything, the only thing she can do is work with the information she had. I was fortunate. I was blessed. My grandmother was born in 1923. So she taught me all the things of being a strong woman, but also having heart and allowing my intuitive nature to grow and cultivating intuition and insight and cultivating my spirituality. She told me I didn't have to forsake any of it. I didn't have to forsake my mind or my heart, that they were all meant to work together for the better of the good. They were meant to work together for the good of others and the good of myself also. Thanks for breaking that down. You're welcome. But you don't have to. I've always been a component of, I don't like the book from Steve Harvey because I still see some young people reviewing it on TikTok, and they're trying to take on some of the things he said. Y'all have to understand the reason why I don't like it and it doesn't work. Not only what I just said applies, but because when you try to think like a man and you have a female brain, those things don't work well together. This also how you get caught up and your feelings and how you get attached to man, because men don't get attached in the way that women get attached. I'm going to say, I've always said that God gave us the middle finger when it comes to attachment, because we get attached to emotions and intimacy. So we can get attached to having long conversations all the time, texting him all the time, spending all the time, and just doing brain dumps with him all the time. We can get attached. So yes, we got the middle finger in that regard. But when you understand, not to do those things. To kind of fall back and take things slowly. Don't just jump into the deep end, because you know that you can emotionally get attached to this man and you will feel some type of way about him, but he hasn't proven himself yet. He hasn't earned anything from you. But this whole conversation, I'm just not with it. I'm against it. This is my video proclaiming it. I'm against it. I don't think that we need to win by being a man. We can win by being a woman. All the women before us won also by being women. A lot of us admire how women were provided for and taken care of. Y'all don't understand what it took. Y'all don't understand. It took them being women. It took them accepting womanhood and what comes with it, and not trying to emulate man. It took them understanding them being the neck and the man being the head, and learning how to guide the head everywhere that they needed to go. I operated in my masculine for years. It tired me out. And a lot of women come to this work and they're like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I think there's a whole video that went viral on TikTok where older women are saying, we are tired. We've been working forever right beside our men. And y'all already know, Black women, as a Black woman, we have been working beside our man since the beginning of time. And so that's what I'm seeing these videos are coming from. Majority from Black women saying we're tired. But no wonder. Our bodies are not set up to work like a man. Men's bodies are set up to work like a man. Their hormones are set up to work like men. They can even hold their breath longer than women. Like God gave them so many attributes, the things that we lack, they have. And unfortunately, I'm going to tell you the full truth, and I don't think nobody's going to say it, but I can say it because I'm going to say it. The brains that they don't have, we do. We do. We have the brains. So it's interesting to me that a lot of women want to emulate men and be like men, but they don't understand that God blesses us with the brain. We have the ability to operate from the right and the left lobe. We have the ability to, I lost that word. I was thinking about, we have the ability to do a lot of things, multitask. We can multitask. We could be working on a checklist and fixing our daughter's hair. We could be cooking dinner and working through a problem. We could be picking up or making a bed and solving something. We are able to multitask fully, where men are single focused. They have to focus on that one thing at a time. That's the reason I teach you to talk to them in a certain way, because of the fact that they can focus one thing at a time. They're not like us. They do not multitask. God gave us the brains. Why do you think he gave us the brains? He gave us the brains so that since we have the biggest responsibility, we have a responsibility to make sure that we do not delegate to a man who's not going to take care of us and our kids. We have a responsibility to make sure that our children come into this world with the best of the best. So since we have such a heavy responsibility, we also have the brains. So why would you want to be the man again? I'm trying to figure that out. I'm confused. Men use the left lobe. They're only operating the majority on one side. That's the reason why they only can focus on one thing at a time. So why would I want to give up the beauty of being a multitask to be a man? And so when you take on manhood and shed womanhood, you take on double burden. Because no matter what you all do in this world, you cannot get rid of your female brain. And the female brain is different than the male brain. All right, I think I'm done. I don't have anything else to say about this. I just want to let it be known that my name is Braille. This is the Pedestal Wife Society, and we act like ladies and we think like women. We do not need to act like a lady and think like a man, ever. We're never going to trade our intelligence for brawn. We're never going to trade our heart just to be and emulate and be a man. Joy said, "You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you all for being here." Because as soon as I said it, y'all know my numbers like, they always do that when I have something deep to say. And it's okay. I'm kind of used to it at this point. And honestly, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't think women should be taking on double burden. I don't think women should try to put themselves in a space where they have to constantly get power when you're already powerful. You don't have to do any of those things. We can still win and outsmart men in the same manner we've been doing it for centuries, for legacies, forever. We outsmarted them a long time ago in our history. Do you all think if it wasn't for intelligent women that you would have the rights that you have today? And they didn't have to sleep around and make that happen either. They didn't have to sleep with that man in order to make that happen for you. Because it was one of those things back in the day, we understood what womanhood was and is. We understood how to utilize it to get our way, to make things happen for us, to care for our children. So now I'm done. Now I'm truly done. I don't have anything else to add. So if you all have anything you want to see in the chat, go ahead and drop it. I appreciate you all for being here all the way to the end. I love, love, love this community. Like, the best thing I ever did was create the Pedestal Wife Society and bring in such wonderful women. Facts, being a woman is so powerful. Yes, it absolutely is. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Being a woman is beautiful. Like, I would prefer being a woman and people try to save me versus I have to save other people. Like, being a man is one of burden. I do not desire it. I like being a woman. I like the fact that men are going to try to save me. I like the fact if the ship is going down, men are going to try to make sure I get in the boat. I love that for me. I love the fact that men are going to be hypnotized by my beauty and they're going to be close to me. I love that for me. I love the fact that I can influence men and bring them into my spirit and my way of thinking. I love that for me. I love being a woman. You all can be whatever you want. Everyone has free will. Just let you know, I love men. I like being a woman, and I'm going to act like a lady, and I'm going to think like a woman every single time. You're not going to get anything different from me. We make the world beautiful and joyful, yes. Because if it was up to men, it would probably just be bare and lack beauty. Because they don't care about any of that. We inspire and influence them to have beauty and all the beauty that we have surrounding us, and also the safety. They wouldn't care if they shoot it out in the street and take each other out, because they're always trying to get power from each other or take power from another man. So they don't care if they shoot it out in the street. They made the world safer for women and children. They didn't do that for themselves. They would love to have to shoot it out. There's still a part of them that's operate from that animal side where they would love to have the idea of just shooting it out and just handling things at that base level. They do this for women and children They have to make it safe for us, not for themselves. If it wasn't for women, they would still be in the street, and one of them would be dead because of the fact they be trying to take power from each other. They'll be hassling and hustling for power, trying to figure out which man is weaker so they can take it from him. But see, here we are, the little lady, the little woman, have to protect the little woman. Y'all don't understand. A lot of things is invented today is to protect you. Men don't care about the protection you think they care about. Even when it came down to the ring doorbells that y'all see on everybody's home, y'all know it's because of the fact men are trying to protect what's inside that home. They're trying to protect the women that's inside their home, the women that they are responsible for. They don't care about any of that. They want somebody to break in so they can break out that new gun they got. They want someone to break in so they can test their masculinity or manhood. Apparently, y'all have been around men. I heard men say, if it wasn't for my wife and children, I'm ready for a man to do it. They'd be ready for somebody to break in. The safety of the world was created for you. The laws were created for you. The rules were created for you. They were influenced by women to create these things. Isn't it the ultimate power to be able to whisper in his ear and watch the world change around you? I think the woman that whispered in his ear is a very powerful woman indeed. I love that you teach femininity and being our best friend, space of loving and appreciating men and the masculine. Yes, I appreciate the masculine because he does have one burden. We are the beauty to the burden that he has. So I appreciate them and I love men. Don't ever mistake the conversation for me teaching you all about womanhood so that you'll get the understanding of what being a woman is. So I don't want you to ever have a need to emulate men because you don't need to. Yes, that's true about safety. Yes, men, I stay in the South, okay? I stay in the South. Men would love for another man to break in their home. Have you ever seen a man talk about, I wish they would? They ready for that action. They're ready to break out that new gun or that new weapon that they have for home protection, but they just want to make sure their woman is safe, though. They don't want it to happen when their woman is around. They would love for it to happen when they're home alone. But unfortunately, other men view women, they know that women are physically weak. It's harder for us to fight a man off. We need an equalizer. We need a gun, or we need something we can pick up to be able to put a man down. So unfortunately, the undesirable men, they'll target women, they'll target that man's woman instead of him. So of course, they had to create laws, rules, things to keep women safe. The world, the way it's created, is set up for women. They didn't set the world up for men. Y'all might think it's a man's world. It's really a woman's world because they created the world so that women can be safe in it. They created the world so that you can get on a plane and go to another country by yourself. They created the world that you can go to the grocery store and buy your food without being harassed. They created this world so that there will be some repercussion and consequences if a man violates or assaults you. They create the world for you. But you want to be a man? That's just rejection, another whole level. And I get it. It looks like men are powerful. It looks like they hold the power. And some women teach that. Some coaches teach that men are powerful. Men are powerful in body. Women are powerful in soul, mind, body, heart. We're powerful there. We're just powerful in different areas. Whisper, yes, soft power, absolutely. And if you know, I know, you know I have a video called Soft Power somewhere. I'm not sure. It may be a membership. I'm sorry. It may be a membership. It may not be on social media anymore, but I've talked about this before. This is not my first rodeo. I've been saying this for the last 5 years of being on social media. And it may be the reason why that my growth is slow, but I'm okay with that. I'd rather be honest and grow slow than to lie to you all and tell you all to be the best man that you can be, and then have you have burden in your life. And then have you be like that woman she wants to go back to being a woman so bad. But what she did, she sacrificed her hormones and her body in order to emulate and become a man. Now it's going to be hard for her to make that transition. If she just realized, I came across my platform where I encourage you to be a woman, and feminine energy looks different on every woman. Stop thinking that it's going to be one way. Like, your feminine energy is a result of your life force energy that you carry. That's going to look differently and show up differently. We have so many different flavors of feminine energy. So if it doesn't look like this woman, doesn't mean that you're less than or you're not feminine. That's a misconception that I hate also. Social media has encouraged this one look, this one flavor of feminine energy. And now all women are holding that feminine energy to the standard and saying, if you're not like this, you're not feminine. But that's not how feminine energy works. Feminine energy is based off your own life force energy. It's based off your authentic being. So it may show up differently in the world than somebody else's feminine energy. That's why you can't equate feminine energy to a look or dresses or heels. I've met women who have heels on and they're super masculine. And I've met women that had a pair of pants on and some slides and the most feminine, sweet, soft, agreeable, and great energy that you ever met in your life. So I don't have anything else. I don't see anything else in the chat. I want to thank all of you for being here, and you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Happy Friday.